Notice of the meeting was provided to the Westfield Leader, advertised January 5th, 2017. Notification was sent to the Star Ledger and promptly posted on the municipal public bulletin board. The following the office of the municipal clerk informed the public of the time and place according to the provisions of the Open Public Meeting Law, Chapter 231, PL 1975. Good evening, everyone, and welcome.
Good evening, Mayor.
Okay, Mr. Donat, you have something for us this evening?
No, I don't, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Ariam is absent this evening. Any unfinished business for the council this evening? Any new business? I have a couple of things this evening.
I actually did have something to say.
Okay.
I was actually approached by somebody, and actually I walked it myself. I was going up East Street, and it seems that we have a little bit of a rat problem over by the brook. I know that in the past few years, we really haven't done too much in terms of spraying to try to get rid of the vegetation. I think something like that really needs to be looked at again. And this was during the day, and both times, were during the day. And they just ran right onto the sidewalk and then ran back to this home. So,
Well, usually you don't see it during the day.
I know, and that tells me that there's a lot more than just a few. So I think it's something that, I don't know, would that be buildings and grounds or
Well, I absolutely
council wants to talk about spraying the brook again?
probably
Or baiting
grounds, yeah.
Have we had some sort of maintenance program in place in the past?
Well, in the years past, we used to spray the brook to keep down the vegetation so that you could actually see where the rats were burrowing.
And that's not done anymore?
We haven't done that in the past few years because of the spraying of the brook getting into the water. So we kind of held off on that, but I think it's something that we should probably start up again.
If you need some assistance, I don't know.
I'll look into it.
Okay,
That's it, thank you.
thank you. Anyone else?
Yeah. I just wanted to ask Joe and the mayor to bring the fence ordinance before the planning board again to see if a compromise can be reached with corner property fences. For 6-foot fence, maybe require a larger setback to make up for it. So I'm willing to compromise on that.
Okay. Do we have a meeting tomorrow night?
Yes.
We do. Okay. We can talk through that even then. Okay. Anyone else? I have a couple of things here. I met with the representatives of the Liquid Church this past week, and they have proclaimed October 29th to November 4th as Fall Love Week. They're willing to do some small service projects for our senior citizens and veterans. Further details will follow soon. Mayor Clark's Mayor Bonacorso and family Mayor Moore will be hosting a meeting of all Union County mayors and administrators on Tuesday, August 15th at 8 a.m. The purpose of this meeting is to discuss the Council on Affordable Housing, many plans many of us are in the midst of implementing, as well as the expiration of the 2% arbitration cap that is to expire at the end of this year, in addition to other issues that are permanent and prominent to our communities. The goal is to sit down with our local legislators in the near future. I've placed on the dais before you 2 Excel sheets that take the information of the Garwood maps to tell when our streets were last paved. The first one set by the north and south side of town. The second set is looking at the town by the last year paved. Hopefully this document will help us select the oldest streets in town to be paved first. And I conducted a meeting with Councilman Sarno, Planning Board Chairman Steve Greet, and Vice Chairman Catalavalaggio to discuss establishing a joint committee between our two groups. We discussed membership, meeting schedule, and kickoff topics that should be discussed, such as open communications and current and future developments and redevelopments. This evening I am appointing Council President Sarah Tedesco, Councilman Joe Sarno, and Councilwoman Jennifer Blumenstock to that committee. That's all for my comments this evening. Move on to comments or matters for discussion from members of council. Councilwoman Blumenstock.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to announce that the beautification committee of the Green Team will be doing some work around town this Saturday on the 29th. We'll be fixing up Kennedy Plaza and also heading over to the rec center where we'll be doing a cleaning up and mulching and planting. We were able to secure a donation of mulch from Garwood's Home Depot, which we appreciate, and we have already had some residents contact us about donating flowers. Of course, we're always on the lookout for more donations, and if anyone would like to help out that day, everyone's always welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Kukrow?
I had my say ready.
Oh, very good, thank you. Councilman Lazaro?
Just a quick update, the garden, the community garden part of the Green Team met a couple weeks ago. We went to visit the community garden in Union. We got to see how, they basically put together a lot of different garden beds and how they decided how they were going to govern that particular type of community garden. So we got some ideas. We're probably going to go take a look at Scotch Plains Community Garden as well, maybe in late August, so we can get more ideas of how we can put this together. So we're moving forward and trying to figure out a plan, but we're just trying to get the best ideas and take it from the other communities so we can put that together. So that's the update on that.
Thank you. Councilman Petrozelli?
Nothing there other than what I reported on before.
Thank you. Councilman Sarno?
Nothing for me.
Thank you. I understand this report for Council President.
Yes, she wanted me to read a little something, and she wants me to apologize that she's not here. This is the first meeting in 6 years, the first regular meeting she hasn't been to, so she was very upset, but she does have a family obligation. Her brother is in the lead of a play at a summer theater camp in Clark. So, from Councilwoman Tedisco. I wanted to thank most of the council for supporting me on getting a resolution in favor of a gateway program on tonight's agenda. Although I'm not here to vote on it, I hope everyone will support Resolution 17-152 to increase the area's rail capacity to make for more available and more reliable service. There are many commuters in town that would benefit from this, as well as our local businesses. Also, property values increase in towns with service to New York City, especially direct trains. Garwood has a couple direct trains off-peak, but I sincerely hope that expands sooner rather than later. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Okay, we're moving on to public comment. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to address the mayor and council? Please step to the microphone and state your full name and address. Please keep your comments to 3 minutes. Mr. Patterson?
Good evening, Mayor, ladies and gentlemen of the council. Bruce Patterson, 325 Willow Avenue, Garwood. Who's the guy with the beard?
Pardon?
I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about.
All right, you mentioned a committee. I don't know if it's open to residents, but if it's a redevelopment committee, obviously you know that.
It was basically a committee between the two boards. At this point, there's no residents on the committee.
All right, moving forward, yeah, well, you know how I feel.
About a lot of things, yes.
All right, just another thing. At the end of Myrtle, I guess is a group home. There was a lot of, I guess, trouble down there, a lot of false alarms and such. Are you aware of that?
I've heard some talk about something going on in Myrtle, no details yet.
I got a church owns that home, right?
I don't know.
Oh.
I'll be more than report back to the council.
The church doesn't own it.
No?
No.
Owns
It's a
the,
company in Elizabeth.
Nonprofit.
Nonprofit.
oh, not profit. Oh, okay.
Chief, would you like to comment on that?
I can.
Thank you. Step to the microphone, please.
As I understand it, it's a 501c. Community Access, I believe is the name of the organization. I believe, don't quote me specifically, but if you want a confirmation, I'll give it to you.
He wrote it down.
I saw that.
I can check that out. I'll keep an eye on that.
But we did have some issues. One of their new residents was pulling an alarm. They're special needs residents, so part of his issue, we wanted to see fire trucks. We did have communication with the organization. They wanted to be made aware of issues as they come up like this. They have been addressing them. It was that first 2 weeks that we had a lot of issues like this. Since then, we haven't had one complaint, and hopefully they're going to be responsive as they were in this most recent event, but they've only been here for about a month now, so we're going to have to deal with it as it comes, but they have been very responsive as I call them up.
Thank you very much, Chief.
Thank you. Thank you. Just the last item on, I guess it was a couple of weeks ago. A lot of, on Willow Ave, 300 block Willow Avenue where I live, a lot of cars got tickets. Obviously, it was the no parking and the permit, which actually brings up a question as to, they're not transit, but let's say the new homeowners or the new people, renters moving in, they may not be aware of this. I was just wondering, is there some kind of welcome packet or something that the towns can put together?
Well, first I'd like to answer your first part of that question. There's 469 parking spots that will be available for them. And that's what we're talking about, the new development?
Well, no, this is 300, no, this is the commuters.
Okay.
These are actually renters and homeowners that moved in on the 300 block. I don't know if they're homeowners, but a lot of renters are down that way. And they did receive a lot of parking tickets. I guess the police maybe ran the place, because I understand the chief mentioned that he first runs the place. So, and if they don't change their address, then they need to get a ticket. Thinking that like they're actually living there. And I'm just wondering, how can the town actually be more friendly towards people that come in, new homeowners, new renters, some kind of welcome packet or something? I've only lived here since the early 90s, but I mean, before that, was there welcome packets? No. Never? Never?
Some realtors used to do it.
Oh, the real thing is good? All right, well, anyway, but I guess just to continue with a friendly community, maybe something should be considered by someone.
Thank you.
Maybe a real local group.
I'm happy they're enforcing the tickets.
Anyone else? Hearing none, we have a motion to adjourn.
So
Make that motion.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
We have 2.5 minutes to wait for the next meeting.
You can't start before. Legal
Reason I have it.
You don't drink caffeine?
Not this late.
I feel like we've had later than that.
When you look at everything, when you look at
Sure, there were 2 meetings last year over here on the insurance
Pardon? Yes, you're a good luck charm. That's all.
I don't have an exact number.
All right. requires for a moment of silence. Salute to the flag, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Notice of this meeting was provided to the Westfield Leader, advertised on January 5th, 2017. Notification was sent to the Star Ledger and promptly posted on the Municipal Public Bulletin Board and filed in the office of the Municipal Clerk, informing the public in time and place according to the public provisions of the Open Public Meeting Law, Chapter 231, PL 1975. Everyone, please turn your cell phones off or put them on vibrate. We appreciate it. Roll call, please.
Mayor Lombardo.
Here?
Councilwoman Blumenstock. Here. Councilwoman Dupero.
Here.
Councilman Lazaro.
Here.
Councilman Petrozelli.
Here.
Councilman Sarno.
Here.
And Council President.
Excused. Minutes, please.
Regular and workshop minutes of the mayor and council held on July 11, 2017.
Do I have a motion to accept the minutes?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Communications, please.
New Jersey State League of Municipalities Mayor's Advisory Daily Update.
Receive and file. Ordinance. Public hearing on ordinance 17-16 as advertised in the Westfield Leader. Please read the ordinance by title only. Ordinance 17-16, please.
In ordinance to amend 21-37 Schedule of Resident Preferential Permit Parking Zones and Article 14 Resident Preferential Permit Parking in Chapter 21 Vehicles and Traffic, and to amend 21-8 2-hour parking in Article 1 Traffic and Parking in Chapter 21 Vehicles and Traffic of the Code of the Borough of Garwood to revise the resident preferential permit parking zone and to revise the 2-hour parking zone by adding additional streets to each.
Have we received any correspondence?
No, Mayor.
Does anyone present wish to be heard concerning ordinance 17-16? Sir? You still have 30 seconds left over from the last.
Well, this will be quick. Good evening, Mayor, ladies and gentlemen. Bruce Patterson, 335 Oak Avenue. This came out of the parking committee, obviously, and
That is correct.
it looks like it's comprehensive. I can't argue that, but I'm just wondering, what about the signs? I know it took months and months to put up signs, but I don't think it was the signs for all these, right? It was only for some streets. The other year, last year?
That's correct.
Oh,
No,
okay.
the years before that, because this is a whole new group.
Oh, it's a whole new group?
Yes, it's a whole new north side of the community. I believe, Councilman's 4th, 5th, and,
4th, 5th, Oak, and Spruce.
thank you.
Specifically 300-400 blocks.
All right, so this is, I guess, just initially out there, and now the process has to move forward with putting up signs
And
again.
the councilman, if you may want to elaborate.
Yeah, an overview would be good.
I know you had meetings already.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I mean, we are expanding the zone because what we noticed, and the reason we had a meeting from the parking committee is we noticed this commuter creep, I guess is the way the police department was noting it. And because of that, what we wanted to do is expand the enforcement zone. So we expanded it to the neighboring streets, okay, as noted by the mayor, 4th and 5th Street, Ave, Spruce as well. And what we're also going to do is we're going to have an ordinance that creates a parking enforcement officer. We just had that finalized and written by Bob. That should be showing up probably in the next meeting.
I would assume.
And that's going to coordinate with the expanded enforcement area. You're going to have someone that's specifically going to be enforcing just parking only. That's going to be and they're going to be an arm of the police.
Thank you.
I guess the only question I have is, you have 5th Avenue here, the entire length. Why'd you pick 5th Avenue?
From the committee,
They're all creeping down there. Everybody that was parking in the other spots, they're all creeping down. That's it.
and when I said the whole 5th Avenue, let's be clear, the only
Garwood.
the Garwood portion.
Thank you.
All right, I think it was you that actually mentioned commuters can walk up to 1 mile, right?
I did.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's
Well, that was mentioned, yes. Thank
studies
you.
that show that,
Studies.
yeah.
It's all part of a report that was done years ago.
And,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay, so there's still a process, that still hasn't been done. The signs, when you have a schedule of when the signs will be done?
It's up to the, we have to work with the DPW, and it may take a matter of months in order for them to get in there. There is no specific timetable for them to do that.
All right. In the meantime, I mean, you know, obviously this is gonna be enforced sooner or later, once the signs are up. Are you gonna be like notifying the potential scofflaws somehow?
That's what the signs are for.
That's what signs are for?
I mean, look what we did the last time. Didn't we use
I
the
mean, they're
police
gonna be,
signs?
you're gonna be signs saying, you know.
We used the
That's the purpose of it.
police traffic signs. We probably did
Before the
the
enforcement, the signs will be there.
Yes, we're not gonna enforce the ordinance until
And
the
if I
signs.
remember
same.
correctly,
Have them around there saying
Chief-
enforcement department will
Chief,
start.
would you step forward, please, once again?
It's on seven.
On Saturday.
And then maybe we'll-
Just like the last time, we'll have a phasing period where we put
Thank
up
you.
the signs, give proper notice, then we will give warnings to violators for a period of time before we actually commence with issuing summonses.
All right,
Thank you.
that's fair. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none, do I have a motion to close the
So
public?
moved. Second.
Do I have a motion to adopt ordinance 17-16?
I'll make the motion, Mayor. Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Blumenstock.
Aye.
Councilwoman Kukrow.
Yes.
Councilman Lazaro.
Aye.
Councilman Petrozelli.
Aye.
Councilman Sarno.
Aye.
Thank you. Move on to council standing committee reports and other reports. Police, Councilman Petrozelli.
Thank you, Mayor. Officer Kowski has been assigned to be our newest DARE officer. His training begins in September. He will be working directly with our students at Lincoln School this fall. Also, the police department has been invited to take part in the Drive Sober or Get Pulled Over grant, which will fund the drunk driving enforcement crackdown beginning August 18th and run through September 4th. We encourage everyone to drink responsibly and please don't drink and drive. Stay up to date with all of the latest happenings in the Garwood Police Department or simply send a comment by visiting us online at garwoodpd.org or follow us on Twitter, Twitter at garwoodpd to receive emergency notifications. Please register and follow us on Nixle at nixle.com. That's all for my report, Mayor.
Thank you. Public Health, Councilwoman Kukrow.
No report, Mayor.
Streets and Roads, Councilwoman Blumenstock.
Thank you, Mayor. The DPW completed their regular public works service of residential pickup of household waste and performed maintenance on miscellaneous public works vehicles and equipment as needed. They repaired broken street and traffic signs in various locations of the borough and continued to weed along the sidewalks at the Center Street underpass, along the sidewalks fronting Borough Hall, and the mulch beds at the Sports and Recreation Complex at Borough Hall. They also removed garbage and debris from the police station for disposal. I also just want to report that just talked to our superintendent right before this meeting, and last week our newest truck broke down, and we did have to borrow a truck from Westfield. Luckily, they were kind enough to give us a truck for garbage pickup, and the older one is still in the shop. The newer one has been repaired and is back on the streets, so I just want to keep everybody up to date on that. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Fire, Councilman Sarno.
Thank you, Mayor. The Fire Committee hereby approves the membership application for Jennifer Barry of Westfield. She has passed her physical and background requirements and also recommends the approval of the membership application for Anthony Tafumi of Scotch Plains. He has passed his physical and background requirements. That's all from my
Thank you very much. Hey, we have any finance report from the Finance Committee?
Yes, we do.
Very good, thank you.
Very short, very brief.
Good.
On behalf of staff. Thank you, Mayor. The Finance Committee will be meeting on August 9th to continue its discussion of long-term capital planning of equipment, roads, parks, and municipal buildings. We'll provide a report on our progress after we hold that meeting.
Thank you. Buildings and Grounds, Councilman Lazaro.
No report, Mayor.
Laws and License, Councilwoman Kukrow.
Thank you, Mayor. The Laws and License Committee met last week to discuss the property maintenance code issue. The plan is to revise Chapter 67, Article 5 of our code to update it from the 1996 VOCA code to the new International Property Maintenance Code, which replaced it. This part of our code had some sections of the VOCA code deleted, so we found the corresponding parts of IPMC to essentially keep our code the same as it has been. We passed along our work along with a couple questions to Mr. Renaud to ensure we are doing the right thing. The question of enforcement is a key piece to this puzzle, which we will continue to discuss. We'll keep everyone updated as we move through this complex process. That's all for my report, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Recreation, Councilman Petrozelli.
Thank you, Mayor. This year's summer rec program is going well. There are over 160 children signed up, and not all are full-time. The recreation averaging over 100-plus children per day. The first set of the trips have gone well, and happy to report that there have been no problems. That's all for my report.
Thank you. Corwin Senior Citizen Liaison, Councilwoman Blumenstock.
No report, Mayor.
Thank you. Library Mayor's Representative, Councilman Lazaro.
Thank you, Mayor. So just to report on some of the past events going on in the library, they include making your own beach bag, building a cardboard city, and a viewing of the movie Sing for the summer recreation campers. Today, representatives from the Camden Aquarium came to show off some sea creatures while articulating a message of ocean conservation. Pictures can be seen on the library Facebook page. As a reminder, the last day to log in summer reading hours is Friday, August 4th. The end of summer reading will be celebrated with an ice cream party on August 8th with prizes and games. Currently, the library is in summer hours with weekday hours unchanged. However, the library will be closed on Saturdays and Sundays. Saturdays for the rest of July and August, but Saturday hours will resume on Saturday, September 9th. And that's all for my report.
Thank you. School Board Liaison, Councilman Sarno.
No report, Mayor.
Thank you. Celebration of public events and holidays. Council President, does anyone have a report?
No report.
Thank you. Union County Air Traffic Noise Advisory Board Representative, Councilman Blumenstock.
No report, Mayor.
Thank you. Administrative Review Committee, Councilwoman Kukrow.
Thank you, Mayor. The Administrative Review Committee met last week also to discuss promotional policies of the Garwood Police Department. Since we've already revised the policy for chief earlier this year, we still needed work on policies for sergeant, lieutenant, and captain. Chief Wright made recommendations for the positions of sergeant and lieutenant, which we accepted. We also unanimously agreed to model the promotional policy for captain after the procedure for chief with a record review as well as an oral interview. However, the oral interview would be conducted by the police committee and two chiefs of police from other towns rather than a mayor and council. We passed along the information to our labor attorney to draft an ordinance for us to vote on next month. That's all for my report, Mayor.
Thank you. Parking Committee, Councilman Sarno.
Thank you, Mayor. The Parking Committee met on Tuesday night, July 18th, discussed the importance of parking issues with as many businesses in town as possible and using the Greater Westford Chamber of Commerce to assist with that goal. The Parking Committee will hold a meeting on September 28th at 7:30 in Borough Hall, where all local businesses will be invited to come and discuss parking issues in Garwood and possible solutions for us to, as a council, to consider. We will notify the 41 businesses that belong to the Chamber of Commerce via letter and invite businesses not in the Chamber via word of mouth, email, and phone. Please feel free to pass this invitation to any interested businesses. We also developed a questionnaire that will be utilized at our September meeting, and here are some of the points of interest that we'll be asking. What are your thoughts on a parking station like Cranford and its effect on your business? If we do implement pay stations, do we institute a free time period? If so, for how long a period of time? Would the turnover of vehicles help your business? If so, how? How important would a public lot and or increased spaces be to your business? Where do your employees park? And what are your biggest challenges? And as a committee, do we grant passes for that? Along the same lines, do we make the lot across the street from the post office exclusively for business owners and their employees? Do we grant businesses the equivalent of residential parking passes? And if this can be worked out, what is the limit per business? As a committee and council, what challenges will we have in instituting such a policy? We anticipate, I mean, this is just a rough draft of it, but we do anticipate getting valuable feedback. That in turn, we will return to council as a whole, so we can address this growing concern in town and move towards our next steps. That's all for my report.
Thank you. Moving on, officers' reports, please.
Municipal Court Administrator LaShawn Durant, monthly report for June 2017. Police Chief James Wright, monthly reports for June 2017.
Do I have a motion to accept these reports?
I'll make that motion, Mayor.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Public comment? Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to address the mayor and council, please step to the microphone. State your full name and address. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes.
I tried. Good evening, Mayor, ladies and gentlemen, Council, Bruce Patterson, 325.
Welcome again, sir.
Yeah, well, I guess first, this parking ordinance, I was looking at it. It looks like it's almost every street except Locust and South. Is that what it turns out to be?
Well, you can't do south.
No, Locust towards south, towards the south direction.
I believe the whole other side of the town is gone. You mean the north side?
No,
We missed a few, there's a few
there's,
blocks that are
there's,
not,
there's like 3 blocks.
Okay.
like,
that-
I guess it's 500 block of Third Ave is not included.
300 block of 4th Avenue is not included, and Liberty Court,
We didn't go that far back.
and maybe Union.
Oh, yeah, Union, Liberty,
I'm thinking the 500 block of 30 might have the Westfield police over there.
Sure
There's too much stuff going on.
Oh, so, I mean, there are some streets that are exempt, obviously. All right, and just moving forward, I know, I would assume by now you know I'm not a happy camper of that pilot that happened. I wrote a letter, I don't know if everybody read the letter, but more or less it was a summary of the July 11th council meeting. But I'm here in front of you again to address this pilot that you have, the pilot ordinance that you have passed already. And there's a possibility, I'm going to be asking you to rescind this ordinance, because that's a possibility, right? You can rescind ordinances. So anyway, so what the issue is, everybody kept saying we want the best deal possible for Garland. Well, I mean, this much I'll concede, you did an okay deal, but you didn't do the best deal. And I discussed a little bit with the mayor on Mayor Saturday that really, who scrutinized these numbers? I guess Joe scrutinized some numbers, maybe your own professional scrutinized the numbers. But did any of you guys scrutinize the numbers? Did anybody? You did, okay, well, the first number that I brought up that time was that $11.5 million for the property to South Phase 1 for those couple of acres there. That's $11.5 million he put there in his calculations. And I still find it's a seriously wrong number. He beefed it up. My concern is he probably buried even the cost over here in that main number that he used to calculate the 300 units on Phase 1. That, to me, is wrong. And I seriously think you should either get proper assessment or some kind of I don't know, an appraisal. You need an appraisal, I guess, of that property, just to figure out, is that number correct? And that needs to be done. I mean, you know, when you guys want to do due diligence, it sounds like you should be getting an appraisal of that property. That's the biggest number of that $80 million number that he came up with. That's the biggest number. The second one is the parking garage. I don't know if anybody looked at the cost of the parking garage. But I'm not going to go into that. But I'm just saying, you got to scrutinize every number. And that's what I did. I got out the financials, I took a look, and boom, that first number didn't make any sense. The comps don't look right when you compare it to other all-in costs. And I don't think you should be going forward with this pilot. You should be, rescinding it. In addition to hazmat, really, everybody's throwing around these hazmat numbers. But to tell you the truth, there is no firm hazmat number out there. And that's another reason you should really wait until Russo gets a hazmat cost. People are throwing $5 million around, but nobody really knows if it's $5 million or not. At the end of July, the DEP is due a hazmat analysis of that property over there at the end of July. So if anything, we should be waiting past the end of July, because after the analysis, then you got to come out with what the remediation cost will do. I don't know how long that'll take, but obviously it would be past the end of July. So, I mean, there are things that need to be addressed that were not addressed. And you keep saying the best deal possible. You didn't do the best deal possible because you did not actually look at the numbers. Another, in fact, actually, the Westfield Leader brought up an idea. They said, you really should contact and review projects from other towns. This is where, it said, assess their results. Actually, you get comps. I mean, you're a realtor. You get comps to compare, to see what the costs are per acre or what it costs. You get an idea. Pilot costs, are the pilot costs in line as to what the true costs are? Other towns have done pilots, so you should be reaching out to get that. I don't know if Mr. Northgrave did that. I don't even know if you asked him to do that, but you should be asking him to do that because you want the best deal possible in Carver. I guess that, that's in a nutshell. That's it.
Okay.
So if anything, please, somebody put forward the possibility that this pilot should be rescinded and everything should be recalculated. Like I mentioned, Joe Sarno, when he asked for additional percentage on the pilot, Russo quickly caved in, which is interesting. That kind of is a red indicator in itself, that he's readily conceding extra money. However, that's of course about 15 years down the line, and whatever this one document, this Excel sheet I saw about 2024. Yeah, okay, I'll wrap it up.
Okay,
2024, and I'll mention this again. 2024, it was called the multi-year cash flow projection, and there it was, that there's a possibility he could sell the property and make nearly 50% of his investment. 50% after all the debt and everything's paid off. He makes 50%. Somehow, what you did was actually you made the best deal possible for Russo. How about us over here? Thank you.
Anyone else? Seeing none, move on to the consent agenda.
I would just
Yeah.
comment if I could in response to Mr. Patterson. if you don't mind. And I kind of hesitate to comment because I don't want to seem as if I'm defending the council in any way, but I do want to let you know, Mr. Patterson, that I stand behind my decision at the last meeting to put through the financial agreement. I did read your letter, and I found some parts of it grossly inaccurate, to say that we didn't do our research and we didn't do our job. I know Councilwoman Tedisco and the mayor at the last meeting talked about how many hours we spent in executive session, but there was also more on top of that. It wasn't something we left at the meeting. I know many of us were in contact with the professionals, emails, phone calls, gathering facts, asking the questions, pushing them. I know many of us, myself included, asked other people whose financial backgrounds would allow them to give us advice. We asked them their take on the numbers. And so to come up and say that we didn't do the best deal, I do disagree. I do think that we did fight, we did negotiate, and it wasn't a black and white issue, it certainly wasn't. There was a lot of mitigating factors, but I do stand behind it that we did do the best deal for Garwood. And I know your letter, you called us puppets, and I sort of take umbrage with that. I don't know whose puppet I'm supposed to be. I assure you that I took everything into consideration on my own to come to this decision. And there was no sort of personal gain. I know that's sort of always put out there that somebody here is in it for personal gain. Couldn't be any more inaccurate on that one. And I guess at this point, Mr. Patterson, we're just at an impasse that we disagree on this, and I know it's a big issue, so I hate to leave it at that, but I guess that's where it lies.
Thank you.
I just have one thing to say. Mr. Patterson, I did speak to a commercial agent about the property across the street. We did get an estimate of what the value was. The top figure does not work out in my mind as far as what the proper figure should be. I also believe that we did not do our due diligence as far as getting a financial breakdown of what it will cost Garwood. That was a big question at the last planning board meeting. I've been delving into the information for months, years, and we really don't have that figure. So, I mean, and everybody pretty much knows how I feel about it. I was for the project, I'm certainly not for the size of it. It's pretty cut and dry. I don't think we did our due diligence as far as what is going to cost Carly. That's plain and simple.
Thank you.
Just to add on, I think we did do our due diligence. We worked really hard as a council. I also want to commend, what Councilman Sarno did in going to, using his knowledge and skills to help negotiate that deal. But on top of that, we met with the financial planner, we met with the redevelopment attorney, we interviewed different financial planners, we decided on that. We got feedback from them. They gave us information on helping us to come to a decision. Also, the scope of the actual project changed throughout the time. So, a lot of the numbers, with all due respect, a lot of the numbers that you were presenting at the meeting were based on old information in which things have changed as we were negotiating this deal. So on top of that, I think it's really important that we put in perspective that we were having a difficult time considering the fact that there was the affordable housing legislation, affordable housing that was breathing down our backs, and that's not an unreal thing. I feel like there's this concept that it's fake, that we're controlled by them, but the reality is that we do not want this in the Elizabeth courts. We do not want them deciding for us. And I felt that was a really important aspect of making a decision like this. We have to put that in context. So even though it may not be the perfect deal, we were put in a position where we had to make a decision, and given the context, I think this was the best decision for the town with all the factors in play.
I'll even add on to that. We did our due diligence. Everyone looked at this. We had a financial planner from Acacia Financial. She was very sharp. Gave a great presentation when we first hired her. She was very instrumental in helping me even come to my decision. And working with her, Bill, to try to work out the best deal possible, and going back and forth with the developer was a very intricate process. You got to remember, in our agreement with the courts in April, it does say you have to make a deal that's economically viable. Those words are used in the agreement itself, and we did just that. We had to make a deal that works for both parties, and you know what? We were able to push the needle up just so slightly to the point where they agreed. If we pushed it any further, they did threaten to go to the special master. To say that it didn't happen, it did. I can speak because I was on the chain that it did happen. This is real. The threats are real. The court is there. This is something that could happen. We did the best thing we possibly could, and we used all the resources that were given to us. There are towns that are going through this without a financial plan, okay? And I have people from those towns saying, oh, is it worth it having a financial planner? And let me tell you, it is, because I asked for a lot of information with my audit and my accounting background. Then I was able to get that information, analyze it, then pose questions back to our financial planner. She put it into a format that works perfectly for this whole thing. It was a cumulative effort. I had the support of the mayor. He absolutely backed me on this, and the rest of council. And I know that I thank you guys for being there. We did the best thing we could, and I just hope that the state legislature gets their act together, provides that kind of guidance, and gives the control back to the towns where it belongs. That's all I have
Thank you
to
very
say.
much. Okay, we'll move on now. Consent agenda. We have a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Blumenthal?
Aye.
Councilman Kukrow?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kukrow? Councilman Mazaro?
Aye.
Councilman Petrozelli?
Aye.
Councilman Sarno?
Aye.
Okay, there is no resolutions to leave the consent agenda this evening. I see there's no business. Payment of claims, please.
Be resolved that the following claims as approved be and the same are hereby ordered paid when properly signed and verified. The payment of payrolls is listed as hereby confirmed and ratified.
Do I have a motion to adopt payment of claims?
Second?
Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Blumenthal?
Aye.
Councilwoman Kukrow?
Yes.
Councilman Mazaro?
Aye.
Councilman Petrozelli?
Aye.
Councilman Sarno?
Aye.
The regular meeting of the Mayor and Council will be held on Tuesday, August the 8th, 2017, in Council Chambers at 7:15. Workshop session to start at 7 p.m. May I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Interesting.